Welcome to Season 1, Episode 2 of the Landmark Sports Show with Anthony and John. We'll be broadcasting every Tuesday. This is our second show, covering sports topics including the UFC, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball. Today, we'll be leading off. Anthony is going to discuss UFC Fight Night coming up this Saturday night. Ant, tell us about Rodriguez versus Penn this Saturday night.
Well, thank you, John. It's awesome to be back here. So this Sunday, actually, is going to be UFC Fight Night 103. Yair Rodriguez versus the returning MMA legend, BJ Penn. Now, BJ Penn is returning from a 3-year MMA layoff because he retired. Now he's coming back. And I think that it's going to be huge to see him back because, I was always a fan of him. However, I think this is a huge mistake when you're going up against a guy like Yair Rodriguez, who's very, very good. He's young. I think he's 24. He has a long career ahead of him because he can fight anybody in the top, and he has good movement. He has good striking, good takedowns. Yeah, I just think this is a big mistake for BJ Penn.
Yeah, I was doing a little research on this one this morning actually, and what really struck me was just looking at their bodies. I thought BJ Penn kind of looked like a 38-year-old, right? He wasn't real cut up. It didn't look like he's been hitting the gym. Whereas Rodriguez was just a young guy. He's really shredded. He looks like he can really, really do some damage. So I'm going to expect that Rodriguez could outlast Penn if it goes the distance. I know they both have had a lot of decisions, both wins and losses. And I think he could knock him out, too. I think this, I agree with you that this might not have been a good idea for Penn to take the fight, and he's maybe just trying to grasp onto the glory days, and those are gone for him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, BJ Penn, his time has run out. He's out of his prime, and I just think that this is a big mistake for him. I expect Yair Rodriguez to go in there and destroy Penn. I think he could finish it by knockout or submission, however he wants to finish it.
So you don't expect this one to go the distance? You're thinking either submission or knockout?
Yeah, I don't see this going the distance.
All right, well, make sure you check it out. That's on Sunday, right?
Yeah, make sure you guys check it out on FS1 at 10 o'clock on Sunday night.
Yeah, make sure you check that out. If you want, comment below the video if you want to get in your predictions. I'm taking Rodriguez.
Yeah, I'm taking Rodriguez.
All right, so that's UFC for our show today. We're going to go into the NFL. So it was a sort of a wild card weekend to forget in the NFL this weekend. We had the Texans beating the Raiders 27-14. We had the Seahawks beating the Lions 26-6. The Steelers putting the hurt on the Dolphins 30-12. And what was supposed to be the marquee matchup of the week, the Packers putting up 38 on the Giants, 38-13. And I know you weren't too happy about that one.
Nope, I was not. Because, the Giants, they started off really well. They had a 6-0 lead. However, the Giants should have had more touchdowns because Eli Manning threw good passes this week. He threw a couple to Odell Beckham. For some reason, I don't know why, he dropped it. He dropped every pass, almost every single pass that was caught to him. 2 of them he should have caught because they were touchdown passes.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, too, because when you think that you're a great player, because he is a good player, I will say that, but I think he's getting too cocky, and you can't do that.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot was made about him and some of the receivers out on a boat early that Monday in Miami. I don't think that's the reason why they lost, but yeah, he's out on the field running shirtless in the 0-degree temperature before the game. I think he was starting to read his press clippings. I think he started to think he might be better than he is, and while I wouldn't put it all on Odell, I think that certainly plays a part when he's a guy that. I think the Giants were in the position they were in the playoffs because he would make 1 or 2 big plays a game.
Yeah.
And he just didn't make them this week.
And the problem also, you can't blame this all on Odell Beckham.
No.
Because you have to blame this on the defense as well because they look terrible. Now, the only guy that was on point who caught every pass that was thrown to him was Victor Cruz. However, a lot of people are wondering, is this it for Victor Cruz with the New York Giants? Because there is a report saying that Cruz is a free agent and that the Giants might not re-sign him. I love Victor Cruz. No, I hope he comes back to New York. But then again, you have Sterling Shepard, who's been on a roll this year, and this is his rookie year. So I don't think the Giants are going to re-sign him, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know you're a big Cruz fan, and I can understand why. I kind of like, of all the Giants, I like Cruz as well. He's a Jersey guy, grew up in Patterson. I kind of rooted for him over the years. He's had a couple bad injuries. My Eagles, they really could use a wide receiver. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw Victor Cruz maybe end up on the Eagles next year, if he can stay healthy. That's always a big if with him. Other than that, in the Packers game, what else did you see in that game? Anything else?
Oh man, Aaron Rodgers looked crazy that game. He had 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Aaron Rodgers is the man.
Yeah.
Because when you need him to make big plays, he can do it. Because he knows how to throw Hail Mary passes like no one else, and he's just unstoppable.
Yeah, he was. I've always been impressed by Aaron Rodgers, but he was particularly impressive this weekend. Just his ability to move in the pocket, to not get sacked, to keep plays alive, his accuracy. As an Eagles fan who I've been plagued by inaccurate quarterbacks for years and years, to see a quarterback just be able to put it wherever he wanted was really, really impressive. And he's playing at a high level. We'll see how he does about the Cowboys. We're going to get to that a little bit later in the show.
Well, don't worry. I'm sure your Eagles will come back next year and be good.
Hopefully. Thanks. And what about the Dolphins and Steelers game? I know you took a little deeper look at that game. What were your feelings on that one?
Everything I expected. I mean, the Dolphins, they didn't even have their quarterback, Ryan Tannehill. If they would have had him, the game would have been closer, But the Steelers, Big Ben, he looked really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had some good plays. I'm not exactly sure how many touchdowns he had. I think he had 3. He looked good. He looked great in the game.
Yeah. I mean, I think Big Ben's one of those guys in the playoffs. He's always going to do a good job. I saw yesterday he's actually in a walking boot. They're winning the game big. I think they're up 30-12 at the time. Coach Tomlin makes the decision not to take him out of the game, and he ends up hurting his foot. Do you think that's gonna affect things going into next week?
I think it will. Ben Roethlisberger. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm thinking about Big Ben Rothwell from the UFC, but Ben Roethlisberger, he's one of those type of guys who sometimes gets hurt, but when he comes back, he's good. And I think this plays a huge factor because the Kansas City Chiefs, you can't sleep on them. They were unstoppable this year. They beat the Raiders twice, and I thought the Raiders were going to win both games.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they really, if the Steelers want to make noise next week, they're going to have to be hitting on all cylinders going into Kansas City.
Yeah, exactly.
The other 2 games of the weekend were the Raiders at the Texans, the Lions at the Seahawks. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time covering those games on our show just because they were pretty much snoozers of games. You had a Texans defense that pretty much took over the game. They're an excellent defense, even without J.J. Watt. You had a rookie quarterback making his first start ever. It's the first time it ever been done. It had never been done before where a rookie quarterback's first start was in the playoffs. So he was just overmatched by a dominant defense in the Texans game. Did you have anything else from that game? There wasn't a whole lot of takeaways.
I mean, when you look at this, man, everybody had to expect that the Texans were going to beat the Raiders once Derek Carr got hurt. Because if Derek Carr hadn't gotten hurt, the Raiders would have been already in the divisional rounds. They probably would have been the most dangerous team to look out for in the playoffs. It's unfortunate, because I like Derek Carr and I like the Raiders. So
yeah.
I wanted to see them make it far. But then again, there's always a next year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think, us as big football fans, just in general, it stinks when a guy has worked real hard. A team has been bad for as many years as they've been. Now they're good. They're getting good play from their quarterback, and then it just all comes apart in one play. So, yeah, I felt the frustration for the Raiders as well.
Now, there's also one problem as well. Like the Texans, a lot of people say that they are the worst team to have the winning record this year. I agree with them because the Texans are not that good. Let's face it, they're not that good. They had to rely on Brock Osweiler to try to make good plays, and he's just not good. He's not ready.
No, I don't think so either. I think they kind of got lucky in this matchup in the first round. But we're going to get to our prognostications in a minute, but I don't see them going too much further. The last one to just touch on is the Lions at the Seahawks. Another kind of snoozer of a game. Stafford nursing a finger injury. The Seahawks running attack was really unstoppable, led by Thomas Rawls. I really enjoy watching him run the football. He runs to contact, which you don't see as much anymore. He's really looking for defenders to basically run over when he's running the ball. So, that game was not great, but the Seahawks showed some of their strengths, especially at home.
Yeah, considering the fact that they played against a tough team like the Lions, which sometimes they're not the most consistent team, but they are a good team because when you look at this, Matthew Stafford, he's taken that team far.
Yeah.
This year, so I really hope they can bounce back next year and hopefully make it to the playoffs again, even winning their division.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're gonna put Wild Card Weekend in the books. We're gonna move on to the divisional round of the playoffs. I know Ant and I are both really looking forward to this round. We were talking about it earlier. The Wild Card Weekend was kind of a snoozer. We don't expect the same thing out of the divisional round. We expect it to be some really good games. So leading off, we got the Seahawks at the Falcons. This is going to be an interesting game. I think you have a playoff team in the Seahawks that's tested in the playoffs. They have a quarterback who's won a Super Bowl. They have a defense that's really good in spite of losing Earl Thomas. At the Falcons, who have a high-powered offense and have not been particularly good in the playoffs, and have not been particularly good in the big game. I personally expect that the Seattle just experience, that defense, Russell Wilson, I think it's going to be too much for the Falcons. I'm predicting Seattle in an upset, 27-24. What about you, Ant?
Well, let me clear you up. You see, the Falcons, every time they make it to the Super Bowl, they deliver. Because the last time they made it to the divisional round. They made it to the conference game where they came close to being the dang good San Francisco 49ers, and they lost by 3 points. I think that the Falcons, looking at how Matt Ryan has played this whole season and the whole team, they have a strong defense. Nobody expected them to play like this. I think the Falcons' offense and defense is going to be too much for Seattle to handle. I have the Falcons winning 30-16. You can't beat that.
No, you can't. So we'll have to see. There's our first game we disagree on. I got the Seahawks. Ant's got the Falcons. We'll see who comes out victorious on that one. So the Saturday night game, one of the premier time slots, we have that Texans at Patriots matchup. Ant, what do you got on that game?
Let me just say, man, Tom Brady and the Patriots, every year they're always a good team. Like, they're just unstoppable. This year they finished 14-2. They won their division, of course, again. They won the AFC championship. Not the AFC title, but they won first place. Mm-hmm. And like we said before, the Texans are not a good team. They're not a great team. So, and because they're playing in New England, I have the Patriots winning 42-0.
Ooh, a blowout.
Yep.
Well, I'm along the same lines. I'm not sure if it's going to be 42-0, but the Patriots did beat the Texans, I believe it was 27-0 earlier this year without Tom Brady. So now you add Tom Brady, you add the playoffs. The Texans, again, Osweiler, some could say he's probably regressed throughout the year. He's probably not the quarterback he was at the beginning of the year, even though he had a decent showing last week. I think that all adds up to a pretty bad beating as well. So, I have Tom Brady and the Patriots winning 31-13. I think maybe the Texans get a kind of junk time touchdown at the end to make it look a little closer even than it's going to be. But, Ant, you and I are definitely in agreement that this is probably going to be a beatdown Saturday night.
Yeah, it wouldn't be surprising to see if the Texans, if the Patriots let them score first and then the Patriots just continue to blow out.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened. Moving on to Sunday. So we have two excellent games on Sunday. I expect Sunday in the NFL playoffs not to disappoint. The first one, we have Steelers at the Chiefs. And I think Big Ben's health is going to be a big thing for sure. If Big Ben is feeling good, I think the Steelers have a real good chance to go in there. However, the Chiefs have Andy Reid. He's a playoff-tested coach. They have Alex Smith, who's not outstanding, but he's not going to make a lot of mistakes. They have the emergence of Tyreek Hill, lightning all-pro rookie. And they're playing in Kansas City. I think besides Seattle, Kansas City might have the biggest home field advantage of all of the NFL. I expect this one to be a really close game. I'm going to take the Chiefs 24-23, maybe on a last-second field goal or a last-second touchdown. What about you, Ant?
Yeah, when you look at this, Alex Smith, first of all, let me just say, since he has gone to Kansas City, he has not disappointed. You know, like when San Francisco traded him to the Chiefs, he's been a great quarterback for that team. They've gone to the playoffs since he's came. And I think that with that experience, and because they're playing in Kansas City, I have the Chiefs winning as well, but I have them winning 24-13 because their defense is just amazing.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that happens there.
Yeah. All right. And now on to the final game. The Green Bay Packers against the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. This is going to be a great game. The last time these two played in the playoffs was back in 2015 when the Packers won by 3 points. It was a tough game, back and forth. Now, when you look at how the Cowboys have developed this year with Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, I think that this is going to be a close game, and I have the Cowboys winning 20-17.
Yeah, I agree with all that. You know, they have Dak Prescott, they have Ezekiel Elliott, two really impressive rookies. They have the offensive line. I mean, the offensive line has 3 All-Pros on it. Incredible offensive line. I think if you look up and down of these rosters, the Cowboys are probably better almost at every position, and except quarterback.
Yeah.
And I think that Aaron Rodgers is working with something a little special this year. Back, I don't know, 6 or 7 weeks ago, he said he guaranteed that they were going to win out. And so far, it's come true. So I'm not going to doubt Aaron Rodgers after what I saw against the Giants. I know this might be a little bit of a hoping pick as opposed to picking with my head because I want to see the Cowboys lose. But I'm going to take the Packers. I'm going to take Aaron Rodgers 35-31 in what should be a really incredible Sunday evening game.
Folks, just be aware, he only wants the Cowboys to lose because he's in the Eagles division. Trust me, my dad is the same way. He wants Cowboys to lose because they are in his team's division, the Giants.
See, it's a smart man, Anthony's dad.
Yeah, very, very smart man. Now I know where I get my smartness from. All right, folks. Well, thank you guys for checking in to episode 2. You guys have been wondering, when are we going to start NBA? After Super Bowl 51, that's when we're going to talk about NBA. Now, if you guys want to see a review of what happened in the divisional week, check back next Tuesday, and we will have a full episode for you about what happened, and we'll give you our predictions for the AFC conference game, for the AFC and NFC conference games. Till then, thank you guys.
Thank you for watching. Have a great week.